Saturday morning, it is time to talk technology on the Experts program, and that means that our tech expert, Luis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, is back with us again. Luis, welcome back to the program, and happy weekend to you.
Yeah, happy weekend to you. It seems like we're going to enjoy a bit of a respite from the rain for a few days before we get back to it next week, which is kind of nice. It's been, I know we always say in California, well, we need the rain, but man, it was some epic rain that we got the last week.
That's right. And Wednesday, wow, did it rain on Wednesday. And then Thursday morning, like, was unbelievable.
Yeah, and Ronnie likes to call it sideways rain.
Well, we had plenty of that.
Kind of weird.
We had plenty of sideways rain and every other kind of rain. And I feel bad for the Caltrans people and the contractors that did so much work getting Highway 1 back open. And now another spot, not the one that they just finished down past Lucia, but another spot farther up, closer to us, has gotten a bunch of stuff on the road, and now they've had to close Highway 1 again down in the Big Sur area. And I don't know when it's going to reopen, but boy, talk about pushing the rock uphill and having it roll back on you, you know?
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it's, part of the price we pay for living in paradise, right?
That's right.
We want to be here, so sometimes you got to take the bad with the good.
I just wonder if, there's probably no one left anymore that was part of the planning for the building of Highway 1 on the coast back in the 1930s. But if they could be around today, one of them might have said, maybe we should have built the highway up on the ridgeline instead of down on the coast.
But then we wouldn't have such beautiful views,
true.
Of the ocean. So.
Yes, very true, very true. And then you'd have all sorts of you just have trees falling across the road all the time. So pick your poison, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, let's jump into the topics for today, and it's all about scammers again. And this time it's North Korean scammers targeting U.S. companies to hire fake IT employees. And you say that they are, what you've discovered is they're using legitimate LinkedIn profiles to make these people look like they would be legitimate IT experts, and then companies unknowingly hire them, and then boom, what hits the fan.
Yeah, and it's not a trivial thing. Last year, they estimate that they generated almost $800 million for the North Korean regime. These are folks that essentially falsify their identity and get hired for remote work as programmers or system administrators and other jobs. And they typically, what will happen is these companies will hire these remote workers and they'll ship them a laptop or a desktop of some sort where that they use to log into the company remotely. But those laptops and desktops are actually shipped to China or Russia, but then using a VPN, they pretend to be coming from whatever location these people purport to be in the United States. And they work there. And sometimes they just do legit work and get paid. Other times they use these phony employees to try to hack into the network of the company that they've been hired to work at. And I think it was a couple of years ago, famously the KnowBe4, which is a cyber security training and learning platform, got victimized by a North Korean IT person that immediately, as soon as they logged into the network after they got credentials, started to try to hack into the systems, and they were able to shut them down, and they realized that they were victimized. But now, in addition to using their traditional techniques, they found a way to essentially use legitimate LinkedIn accounts that you might have or I might have, to falsify their identity and pretend to be us. And when employers go check in LinkedIn, they discover, Luis Alvarez is legit. He has a legit identity and seems to be on the up and up. So let's hire him. Just another twist in their hack and scams to try to get jobs.
Right. And then they get into your network and into your systems. And boy, then it's Katie bar the door.
Exactly. And in many cases, these folks are really just there as Trojan horses, if you will, trying to infiltrate your network and having gained access, then waiting patiently over months, if not years, to try to exploit the information that they have for nefarious purposes. So if you're hiring remote workers, just be aware that this exists. It's worldwide, and some companies that have been victimized are pretty small. Some people might think, well, nobody would do that to me because I'm just a small 30-person company here in Salinas, California, or Monterey, California. But you can be a victim just like anybody else. So if you're hiring remote workers, be aware.
So, what are some of the things that you need to watch for? How would you know that this was a a North Korean spy if you were looking at hiring someone through their LinkedIn profile? What ought you to do?
Yeah, especially if you're using their LinkedIn profile, ask them, don't link to them directly, but ask them to link to you. It's like, hey, go into your LinkedIn and connect to our company's LinkedIn profile. Because chances are they really don't control that LinkedIn account, so they won't be able to do that. Use third-party verification services. Like, for example, when we hire somebody, we use a third party to validate their identity and, make sure that they're for real. Obviously, if you do an interview, make sure that it's a video interview and that you're actually seeing the person as they talk, and don't just do a phone or voice interview, because now AI has gotten so good that they can be speaking Korean and answering your questions, and it's translating in real time into like a Southern drawl or somebody from Louisiana. You can't just rely on voice alone anymore.
All righty. Well, good information. And if people want more info about that, they can get in touch with the experts at the Alvarez Technology Group, and we'll have the contact information at the end of the program here. Hey, before we go, one more thing, Louis. Spam texts are on the rise, mucking up our phones with group chats filled with people we don't know or didn't ask to be lumped together for some nefarious reason. And these texts might seem like simply a nuisance, but they can ultimately lead to more spam, phishing attempts, or worse, just like with spam calls. But you got to be able to silence those spam text alerts and block messages from your phone. And apparently, if you've received more spam text messages lately, you're not alone, because Consumer Reports is confirming, Louis, that text-based scam attempts have risen by 50% as of last year. And apparently part of this is due to the broad-scale availability of RCS, which is a fairly new texting standard that has replaced SMS on both Android and iPhones. So what is RCS compared to SMS?
So RCS is a more secure version, theoretically, than SMS. Traditional texting platform is SMS. That's the one we're used to. But RCS is it's a modern upgrade. That's where you can do the emojis and, send all that sort of stuff. It's where you can see somebody responding in real time. You see the little dots as they type their response to your text. All of that comes because it's an RCS platform. Traditional SMS doesn't support any of that.
Okay. So if you do get one of these new spam texts, or you get any kind of a spam text, I know a lot of times it annoys you, and your first inclination is to voice respond or to type in, "Stop, leave me alone." What they say is the best defense is to say nothing and just block them and delete them, because a response,
not engage.
Yeah, because a response actually triggers something else in their algorithms, correct?
Yeah, so a lot of these texts are generated now by AI in mass, right? So they're sending these out. They get your cell phone number from the dark web, right? So you'll get a text and it'll say, "Hey, Louis, how are you? It's been a while." And so you figure, they know who I am, but I don't recognize this number. So let me find out who they are so that I can, add them to my contact list. Maybe it's somebody that I met someplace. If you don't recognize a number, do not respond, especially if the area code looks weird, right? It's going to be something that is like 972, or I think the last one I got was 692. So this is not going to be an 831 or 408 or 415, or in my case, 305, because I get texts from my family in Florida. So just be cognizant that if you get one of these texts, you don't recognize it, and you feel like this is some sort of smishing, as we call it, some sort of phishing attempt, block the caller and report it as spam, which all of the carriers will allow you to do.
Because one of the reasons that you don't want to reply, even if you're saying leave me alone, is because then it confirms to their system that this is a valid, legitimate phone number, and then it only opens you up for more spam and more phishing. And that's why you don't want to respond at all.
Yeah, because as soon as you do, like you said, it validates it, not only to the person who sent it, but they then communicate within their network of cyber criminals that, hey, I got a live one. I got one that's legit.
Yep, exactly. So great advice from Louis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, today here on Power Talk Radio. Online, you'll find them at alvareztg.com. At AlvarezTG is the X handle. Louis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.
And looking ahead to Monday, we're talking about robot dogs that are going to be patrolling at the 2026 World Cup in Mexico.
Yeah, they're stepping up. Now they're using robot dogs like drones, so tune in to learn more.
And don't think that you can buy them off with a treat.
No, for sure.
You might get your hand snapped off. So we'll have that story and more Monday morning starting at 8:30 on Power Talk Radio. Louis, thank you so much and have a wonderful weekend.
You too, my friend. Take care.